Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. We just finished up our first game of Wildcard versus TSM. Now, with that interview and everything that was going on, I do want to talk about that lower bracket a little bit. And I want to ask you, Ryoma, what does it mean to have to play games so quickly back to back to back to try and get into the finals?
I mean, I'd say it's pretty stressful. I've been there before. I think it's like very, I wouldn't say it burns you out, but it does get to you at a point. Like you keep constantly thinking about all the games you just played, and you know, I would say it's like I would rather honestly have a break in between those times, but just to get another scrimdale practice, just so you know what you're working on. But I mean, honestly, it's part of the pressure and part of the fun, and you just gotta deal with that sometimes.
I mean, that's the intense thing for Wildcard. They'll be facing off again tomorrow against the winner of this next match that's going to be coming in. I think it's a good time to pull up the playoffs bracket so we can look at things in a little bit more in a macro sense, as well as take a look at some of the games that have been going on. See that Golden Guardians and Immortals tied up in the series.
I gotta say, that doesn't surprise me because I feel like those two teams just like want to play lightning fast at all times. So I feel like, we could easily see each. I don't know what's going on in that series, but it wouldn't surprise me if like each team threw a game or each team just stomped a game. Who knows? But that's actually a little bit closer than I thought. I was leaning pretty Golden Guardians favored there. I don't know about you, Ryoma.
I was thinking it was going to be Golden Guardians favor too, just because of Balulu moving up to LCS, and I thought he was a big part of their success. But also, that being said, like GGS have been playing, I'd say, relatively well. I think, I think they've been working as a core, like pretty well.
All right, well, let's move on to our next match to see who's going to proceed in the lower bracket and be Wildcard's opponent. And the next match is going to be between FlyQuest Challengers versus AOE. You can already see the Twitch chat is pretty heavily in favor of AOE, but pulling up our first roster, that's going to be FlyQuest Challengers. This is a roster that made quite a few waves coming into the season, mostly in that bottom lane. Masu able to show up, but now as of lately, Yuji stepping up as sort of a playoffs buff, Cubby.
Yeah, Yuji's Gragas game, I still can't get over that one against Immortals. Like, that was one of the better games I've seen. I think Yuji, even in the series against Dignitas, that was a very closely contested best of 3. Yuji was fantastic. This is someone that, I think very highly of as a jungler. And it's not just because of his mechanics, but also because how he has adapted his play. I think, thinking back to last spring where he was a rookie, how he was really unable to interact with his lanes because he didn't know what his laners wanted to do, versus now where I consistently see him hovering the right side of the map, making sure that, his laners are safe. It's been a great evolution for Yuji, and now we're seeing peaks out of him that we haven't seen before that are really exciting.
He's been a lot of fun to watch, especially with the way he's been performing in playoffs thus far. Gotta absolutely love it because he's reading a lot of these plays. His early pathing has been on fire, and especially the pick that you're talking about, that Immortals game, that blue pick, Cubby.
Yeah, and as we transition into the Dignitas roster, or AOE Gold, I saw yellow.
Yellow.
Okay, so the reason I said Dig was because Spyrax and Darkwings were both two rookies that came in last spring that are now going toe-to-toe here. And Ryoma, I kind of want your thoughts on each of our mid laners here, more so Darkwings as we get into the AOE roster.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say both mid laners are pretty good. I mean, honestly, I'd say most of the series is going to lead up to the jungle matchup, I'll be honest. I think it's going to be like their 2v2, and I think both junglers are really proactive. As you were saying, Cubby, I think a lot of FlyQuest's success is coming from Yuji, I'd say. I think when he has a really good game, I think they're all on, they're all on the same page and everything. Same, I'll be honest, same with Winston, Winnie, sorry. But yeah, I mean, I think that's, in the end, that's going to be like the mid situation, I guess. But, we'll have to see. I think it's going to be a lot of 2v2s around mid, at least.
Yeah, I like how you highlight Winnie too, because I mean, we all know that Winnie really is the leader of this team. Like in comms, inside out of the game, very vocal. And the thing I always like to say about Winnie is that he's never really seen a fight that he doesn't like. Sometimes that's for better or worse, but I know that AOE, that they've been pretty competitive in the lower bracket, and also you guys played a really close best of 3 to get AOE here. What were your thoughts on that series, Ryoma? Kind of playing in this.
Also, I mean, I was honestly thinking like maybe Jinx Orianna is a bit hard to deal with in Academy. I'd say it's like
yeah.
It's just it's like kind of, it just puts you on a timer and you get under pressure. So I'm kind of looking out for that against AOE. Like, I think a lot of teams are going to be looking for that Jinx Orianna, not easy execution, but that basic front to back fight, and they're going to try to I mean, I honestly think they're gonna look for it again.
Yeah.
And I think it's just gonna become a priority in like the series probably.
Yeah. I will say in that last clip, I know that you were trying to go for the execute there on Darkwings. You guys had a really nice angle. That was really clever from Winnie, I thought, to block your the Shuriken flip. That was really well done. And
he's pretty creative at times.
Yeah, like one of
Winnie,
yeah, like one of the like really small plays. I think that actually played a really big factor in that close game that you guys had for game 3. But we got FlyQuest on the other side of the rift, Rex. I know that you're excited about Yuji. Here's the Gragas game we were talking about. He was such a beast in this game.
Man, he was absolutely brutal in that game. Not just in the way that he actually did a lot of these ganks to get his lanes ahead. This was one of the most brutal ones right there onto Balulu reading out that Ahri. But it was the way he read Chad as well. He had absolute control over that top quadrant of the jungle. And Chad, I think, lost out on 3 Raptors camps back to back to back to back. On top of that, his syncing up with Winsome and doing a lot of the teamfight plays that Winsome's calling out has been working immaculately well for FlyQuest Challengers.
Yeah, it's funny because like I know that leading up to the Dig FlyQuest series, I was getting some hot takes from some of our casters and even a player, and we had Chad saying like, I think this series is going to be like UG Gap. And I know it went Dig's way. I think that XU had a really nice game too, especially, but UG played really well in the series still. We're looking for even more out of him. As Ryoma, I know that he's a jungler that, you know, puts you and Shaded under a lot of pressure too when you guys go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think UG's like a lot of their success. If he has a good game, he's gonna. I honestly think he's probably one of the better junglers in the academy, I'd say. And I mean, I'm excited to see him play. Like I still remember, like he landed like 6 smites against us in a row, and you know it was kind of hard. It was honestly like hard to take in, but I was like, I mean, we'll still win, but it's like this guy's actually playing out of his mind.
And it's been an absolute blast to see the growth of Yuji from last year to this year. And, you know, with the focus being onto the bot side, he plays so well to Masu, who has been this young collegiate prospect that kind of came out of nowhere and took over a lot of these games that FlyQuest have been winning out. Well, they're going to have to face off against AOE for their tournament lives, and that's going to start up in just a second. So we're going to bid farewell to Ryoma as we go into game number 1, FlyQuest Challengers versus AOE.
I gotta say, I really like Ryoma's thoughts on the junglers there, and also really excited for the next game. I get to do something I've actually never done in my casting career, which is, or only done once, which is cast a game with a player coming up for game 2. So we're gonna have Ryoma joining us for that. So yeah, but for game 1, we're gonna get AOE versus FlyQuest underway. I think that this is a series, given the play and the form we've seen out of FlyQuest, I feel like FlyQuest are favored. Heading in, they're a team that are getting nods from C9, Dignitas, teams that they're even looking out for in the tournament, just running through the lower bracket. And FlyQuest, interestingly enough, actually choosing red side game 1. I think AoE's had a lot more success on blue. So I think that that's actually an adaptation that we'll have to see what that leads to.
And they had a great match against Dignitas that actually got them down here. A lot of that game 1 win came from FlyQuest just being faster to the punch when Dignitas were still trying to set up. So I'm curious as to what FlyQuest are going to go with coming into this next game. I know Philip was pretty big on that Scion, on that Dignitas win. AoE, however, are afforded the Xayah, so that forces FlyQuest to take away the Recon.
Oh, and it's a Graves for Yuji. So important note, Viego is not available at the moment. There's a bug. That is big for Winnie, as his most played in playoffs has actually been Viego. Part of it was a big part of their strategy to deny Shaden that champion, but also he played it in the other series as well that put them in a lower bracket as they did drop to Golden Guardians. So I think that for AoE, I am interested to see what the answer is here, as Winnie's champ pool going to be dinged up a little bit, but it is going to be that Wukong that coming into the day, Wukong has very high presence and a 71% win rate in the playoffs for this tournament. So as we get more data on the patch, kind of looking out for like those top champions, and there's the Orianna that was spotted. So it's not Jinx Ori for AoE, but still that Ori being very sound for Darkwings and will be picked up.
Sound for Darkwings and works well with the Cyclone of the Wukong. Now, FlyQuest, they want to get out of this, and how do you get out of it? An Arcane Shift away from the Wukong. They're going to lock in the Ezreal for Masu to play in that bot lane.
And I know that, you know, we were talking with FlyQuest, Masu, like, being here, it opens up more chance for them to play. I actually was watching some LCS games on Wednesday. FlyQuest were in the stands. I was with them. I was talking with their coach, Chill Strikes, and he's like, yeah, it's really nice. Like, we can actually play Ezreal again now that Masu's here. So we get to see the Ezreal pop out. I gotta say, it's a good game for it. That's one way to get around the zone control of Orianna and also Xayah. Xayah, of course, wants teams to jump in, so she gets the most value out of her feathers. Ezreal, he can jump in, but he can also play from 1K range, which we'll see if Moss is able to do that well.
There's still a lot of teamfight threat that I'm going to be looking at over on AOE side, especially as we develop this draft a little bit more. I mean, the south peel of Azaya is always oh so nice. I want to see what Skytech is going to pick, as he does like to go for some spicy picks here and there. Did allude that he had some in the chamber last interview that we had with Skytech. If you didn't know, that hover on the Vi was a little bit of a nod to Vitek does like to play that in the support role.
Yeah. Now, I'm actually curious, what is Spyrax going to go for? And also, it looks like Annie's been totally dropped here. And I don't expect to see an Annie from FlyQuest into the Orianna. So I think Spyrax, like at the moment, it's a lot of range and a very safe weak side bot lane for the side of Fly. So I actually want to see Fly take a little bit of strength in their solo laners. I think that like any form of CC could be good here. And it's curious that FlyQuest actually banning out quite a few of the tanks on the top side. If they want access to that Cho'Gath, they would have to grab a pick like that now.
See if they go for it. 8 seconds on the clock to lock in for that pick, or they can go for the mid lane. See, the hover right now is going to be on that Talia pick, and yes, that will be the lock-in. Does provide more pick, synergizes pretty well with the Rakan.
This is Spyrax's first Talia, the split. Now, I think that I was asking, for some control. I think that Talia does bring a lot of control to the map. They're expecting that Skytech's going to be on Engage, so it might make life more difficult depending on which Engager Skytech wants to go for. I know he loves the Rel, which is actually a pretty good matchup in Rakan, but I'm expecting now maybe we see a Nautilus out of Skytech. Oh no, it's going to be the Rel, man. It's back. It combos really nicely with Wukong, but Talia, you can break the dismount from Rel. So Skytech will have to be aware of that as he tries to find those engages.
But man, what a vicious engage that you have coming up from AOE with what they've proposed so far. And it's going to continue right now if they do go for this lock-in for Gamsu. Over on the top side, it's going to be Gnar. So the follow-up, this is a mean 5v5 that AOE can bring to these fights.
FlyQuest has a few options here, though. They could go for Fiora. It's Philip's most played. You can just play that into the Gnar and then try and side lane as the game goes on. Or you could even go for something like a Jace and just say, hey, we're going to poke and try and go from there. So I think those are a couple options that FlyQuest does have. FlyQuest right now hovering the Jax, which has seen a lot of bans, pretty high priority still. And you can play that into the Gnar. Again, they need a lane to play aggressively. So I think that the resources for FlyQuest could go mostly into Yuji, with Spyrax being able to shove mid early on the Talia. And we'll see what Yuji can do and if he can open up a lead and maybe open up the map for Philip to play aggressively. Because with Jax, we don't win this matchup, you must play forward.
And again, I've been very impressed with a lot of the early play that we've been getting out of Yuji. So I expect him to have some level of impact.
It's damn good.
No, Winnie has been that team leader for AoE, so it's going to be a lot on him to be able to read what Yuji's going for. I think Yuji had decent reads on XU when we saw that Dignitas game, especially that game number 1, the one where Winsome was able to get a hook down onto the marksman, and you had that follow through coming up from Yuji. More plays like that, the sync up of both the support and jungle role is what I've been loving from FlyQuest and what I want to see more of.
And curiously enough, it's actually only the second Ezreal that we've seen so far in playoffs on this patch. So my eyes are out for that. I feel like Ezreal can actually break a lot of what AoE wants to do. Masu's been a very impressive player for us. But for me, when AoE has been able to win games, it's been through their bot lane. Nyx and Skytech do have the ability to make plays and have some priority. So I think a lot of my focus is going to be it's a little bit everywhere, but quite a bit of it will be down there. Given that I think that's just the best way that AoE is able to play, right? Make sure Nyx and Skytech are ahead, go from there. I think the map gets a lot easier for them because, Gnar, Orianna, rather self-sufficient solo laners. We don't see them move a lot. So it's really important that AoE has a bot lane that's winning.
It's important to state again what is at stake for AoE in particular. If they lose right here, they are going to the promotion relegations. That again will take place April 17th to the 23rd. They would be the final team put in there to fight for their tournament lives back in. I mean, it's a tough opponent to have to take that win against, and wild card awaits you immediately right after that. So a rough road ahead for AoE, and it all starts with FlyQuest.
I mean, FlyQuest, again, this is a team, we had Unforgiven, in the interview after they beat TSM, be like, I respect FlyQuest. This is a team that I think is really good, that, we feel like we're still going to have to go through at some point in this tournament. So FlyQuest, I mean, if they want to have that run, it always feels like we have some strong teams that drop down to this side of the bracket. I think they played Dignitas really well in that best of 3. You could argue that the only reason they dropped that game 3 was because of Aurelion Sol. It was quite the game from Insanity as he found 900 stack Arenos on the new Elder Dragon that they released in League of Legends. But yeah, it's one where, you know, this is the bounce back time for FlyQuest. They got games today, back to back for our winning teams today. It's tough, it's crunch time, but FlyQuest, they're a team where all these players, none of them have made top 4 yet, and I think that's a big goal for them this year.
Yeah. It's going to be a big goal for them. I feel even more looking into the mid lane. I do want to bring that matchup once again. Spyrax, I feel like, has been such a big highlight in the past, hasn't been as the biggest impactor, at least when we've had FlyQuest into the playoffs thus far. I think this is a good time for him to show that he still has that capability now that he's on this Talia pick to boom things back up for FlyQuest and be that little pivot point coming through.
Okay. Well, I will say we do have draft right now, frozen. Now I'm waiting for updates from our producers. As I will say, we have gonna be able to see, you know, what exactly is able to happen here. But I gotta say, again, this draft for FlyQuest, I think that Talia, it really is going to be the key to making sure that this map actually stays together as we move throughout.
Spyrax will have to try to clutch that out for the squad. We are working through some technical difficulties at the moment, don't you worry. We'll be on the Rift in just a minute. It happens, the NACL, you know. With so many things being remote, there's so many different variables you have to keep control of. Kind of like jungling matchup here, G versus Winnie.
It's one that's going to be quite interesting, as I think as Ryoma like really brought to light. You know, he thinks that both these teams are kind of dictated by the junglers. I gotta say, I think that FlyQuest has credited Winsome more for the shot calling, but Yuji definitely being that engine who has been so damn good in this tournament that, you know, has gotten the ball rolling for FlyQuest.
And I will say, even with FlyQuest's performance and what they've had at the end of the season, what they've had coming into playoffs, the interview with Masu showed that he isn't exactly happy with his performances so far and how much he's been improving. He's starting to feel like he's sliding back a little bit and does want to bump up for this last stretch and do a performance he's feeling rather confident of.
I mean, it's one where obviously, you know, we're in playoffs. Everyone's trying to build up that confidence. I think that what Ryoma was talking about too, like playing back-to-back, really important that, like, especially like for wildcard, I mean, you can actually bring a lot of confidence in, you know, after you play a best of 3 like that. But fortunately for us, we are wrapped up with filling here, Deserux. We got the draft remade. We're in game, and a good series hopefully on our hands here as FlyQuest look to you know, stay alive, and AOE, they must win to avoid that promotion relegation tournament.
Do or die scenario, and we got the fancy little camera shots coming in as we head into the second game, last series of the day. Lower bracket, once again, AOE versus FlyQuest. Gonna be watching a lot of that early jungle pathing to players who are very impactful when it comes to their team and what they like to do.
Speaking of impactful, we had level 1, as looks like FlyQuest gonna look to see if Gamsu goes for a ward. Oh, Gamsu's actually... If he would have dipped in, maybe like goes for a late ward over the wall, could have been interesting, but instead they're just going to be Philip and Yuji walking a little bit later. They do win this level 1 rather hard, as it is Graves. So Graves, of course, always has the ability to split that map, as... Oh, they actually buy a little bit of vision here. Hey. Philip's going to fake like, you know, he's walking. No way.
Oh, yeah.
They take it.
Unfortunate for Gamsu. Does... Walking to that brush, and this means that Philip and Yuji will have positioning over onto this blue buff that's stored away.
All right, so split map scenario here as FlyQuest again. The patch, the change that we had, 13.5. Thankfully, counter jungling, it's back. It's now an even playing field between our junglers. So I think really important that that change is made. I'm definitely all for it. I think it's very healthy for the game. And Winnie now be on the back foot and be forced to respond.
See what Winnie can do in the early stages. Again, it's been Yuji who's been pushing the momentum for FlyQuest with his early pathing, with his early decision-making. But Winnie is, again, one of those big influencers when it comes to the squad of AOE. I think his Proving Grounds era was one of the more interesting to watch. Spring 21, organization issues, it happens. But Summer 21, managed to top 6 with Wildcard Red. 2 respectable runs in 2022. On the flip side of that, his last 2 appearances have ended in round 2 of the lower bracket. So this would break that trend, that streak that's been going on for Winnie.
FlyQuest bot lane are out of wards. They do have level 2, but AOE can make a play here after these 2 creeps. They will even the score. And when he's here...
And he hovers over, but FlyQuest going to play with respect. They do spot out the monkey. Vertical jungling continues over on the opposite side, though, as Yuji will hover over back, actually.
This is good. This is well played by FlyQuest again. That bot lane does have push and priority, so Winsome's trying to sneak on up to see if they can spot Winnie, and Yuji's going to deny the counter quadrant, so he's on the quadrant that he just took away from Winnie. So Winnie's only option here is to try and play for the red buff, but Yuji's going to get a bonus camp out of this.
Interesting right now. Yuji. Oh, doubling back. Raptor camp now pulled away. Yuji's walking up. Winnie will secure it and steal away that Raptor camp out from Yuji, but is it going to cost him something more? Philip is here. Oh, seismic shove in the mid lane out of Spyrax, pulls in Darkwings, and Yuji goes on the offense. You got nothing left for mobility, Darkwings.
Hold on.
What can he do to escape? Makes enough distance. FlyQuest are not going to get first blood.
The value of Orianna W there was pretty big. That also buys time for Gamsu in the top lane. And for me, this is what has been really big about AOE. And I know, like, I think what really happened during game 1 of AOE versus EG was that they had the Gnar and the Orianna and just bought time to play. But, okay, nice cancel.
He'll going to be burnt away. Lynx flashes out. And with that, AOE's bot lane will survive the gank of Yuji.
Well played, just a trade of flashes then. As they did get both summoner spells out of Lynx, but Winsome down flash. Will be nice production. And we see the interaction there between Rel and Rakan. That was well done by the side of Skytech to make sure that engage was not, and his marksman was able to escape.
With that, a lot of fights going off. No first blood going to be found, but both of these teams currently swinging at each other. Yuji will be over back into his blue buff, be able to secure that. And finally, we get some normal jungling coming out, Cubby.
I kind of like the Australian style jungling, you know? It's fun when we flip the maps around. It still is going to be, I think, Yuji coming out a little bit ahead. Now, the big thing for Winnie is that he's going to have all of his respawn camps up at a similar time, because Yuji did start on his blue side quadrant. So if Yuji's able to get in and take any of those, it could be big. If Winnie gets them all, I actually think that it's not that bad of a start in game for Winnie.
Remember, Yuji did have that game where he just denied Raptor camp after Raptor camp after Raptor camp. From Chad Jungle. Both resets going to be found by the junglers as they set up. Yuji will be poised to go over towards that top area. Has been kind of ignoring that quadrant of the jungle due to skirmishing coming out. Should see Winnie around that angle as well.
Yeah, each of our junglers getting a base in. As Yuji will opt for the socks. I feel like that's beats the control ward, you know?
Call them socks?
Yeah. Booties.
They're brown.
Yeah,
leathery.
paper bags.
Never had... Okay.
Yeah. He's got the paper bags on him. All right, no, it's not boots. Paper bags. Let me have some fun, all right? Bad Magical gets away with way worse, okay?
Paper bags. All right, fine. We'll take it. We'll take it. Makes it really hard to walk around in the jungle when there's all that noise on your feet. That's okay. We got a volatile game as it is.
Hey, at least they're recyclable, you know?
Care for the environment, and we've wrapped it back to FlyQuest.
Showcase greatness, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about. As at the moment, Spyrax does have 6. Darkwings has no flash. Spyrax is bluffing that he based. Might be looking to set something up with Yuji. That wall, of course, does interact with Graves rather well.
Again, no flash for Darkwings. If he gets caught by this, this could be a kill. Winnie's here to alleviate the pressure. Darkwings is filling, and Shockwave turning this around. Winnie drops the cane onto the back of the head, and that's first blood for Darkwings.
I mean, one alt does damage, one just throws the wall down. Darkwings gets the best of it, as that Shockwave was big. Yuji wasn't able to escape, and that's really important for AOE as their Orianna's off to a good start.
AOE finding that over in the mid lane. Yuji was the one to try and set up that gank, but Winnie, right place, right time to turn it around, and stopping some of that early momentum that we've been seeing through playoffs from Yuji.
Darkwings Orianna, it's been really solid in the tournament. I think that Darkwings, you know, as Ryan was kind of alluding to, you know, both mids definitely, you know, decent, especially given that it's their second split here with Darkwings, you know, being promoted. The thing I always love about Darkwings, in the 4 splits that we had Proving Grounds, Darkwings was the only player that qualified all 4 splits on 4 different teams. And that says a lot about how Darkwings is able to fit into a team and a lot of the flexibility that he brings as, you know, he's gone from being our Silas player to now our resident Orianna player as Yuji.
All right, Yuji on the
That feels
invade.
bad.
Goes after the monkey. Will steal away
Yeah,
the red
that feels
buff.
bad.
And unfortunate for Winnie, Yuji has arrived and he's eyeballing the bottom lane as well.
Yeah, it could be first dragon for FlyQuest, but I think they want to try and get some gold into their lanes. So Yuji, he knows that he's going to be on a control ward when he does pop over here. Winnie, he's going to start up the Herald here in 20 seconds, but they got 20 seconds to wait. So see if FlyQuest can get any of these plays down as Yuji.
A lot of damage on Skytech right there, who wants to be the front line, wants to hold the line, but the line is breaking. Skytech will flash away, still able to escape with his life.
Yeah, and still able to deny some waves from the side of AoE's bot lane as Philip going to be heading for the hills.
Yeah, wants to get away, but now it's the range for him. Gamsu throws out the boomerang, but Philip flashes it.
Good trade. I think that does actually favor the Jax, as he does have all-in potential. But at the moment, it is Winnie who's on the top side of the map taking the Herald. So FlyQuest, they have to deny enough from AoE's bot lane where it feels like it's worth to sack that Herald for free. I gotta say, they've taken away 2 waves. There hasn't been a Dragon started yet by the side of Yuji, but I feel like FlyQuest are okay with that trade, as yeah, 2 points went over to Ezreal, and there were a lot of creeps that died, so no experience, no gold that goes over to Lynx. That Ritual trade, it's gonna actually be a win here for FlyQuest.
And a beautiful time. Masu gets the recall. He collected quite a bit when it came to the farm war with Lynx. 14 CS ahead, has plates to boot alongside that. Wave crashes, now it's reset into the middle, so FlyQuest are sitting pretty, and Yuji gonna expand that with this dragon being secured. Skytech only putting out the scrying plant to see Winsome, but will only have the scoreboard to show the dragon being taken.
Well done by Yuji. Again, I think the trades here... honestly, Winnie answered the mid play really well. I know that we put a lot of focus on the junglers going into this series, but I think Yuji's answer to get bot lane ahead there and trade that for Herald was correct. Very good for FlyQuest, as again, Ezreal kind of taken as he can break what AoE wants to do. AoE, it's a lot about engage and disengage, right? Xayah is just going to be all by herself as the rest of the team is dogpiling into FlyQuest. If you get a fed Ezreal, that can, A, put enough poke down where those engages can become a little bit scarier because the health bar is already low, but also Ezreal has a nice time dancing around that and still putting out the DPS. So Masu being ahead, I think, nice call for FlyQuest.
I mean, sure. Skytech hops on Masu. Arcane Shift away. Okay, Winnie hops on Masu. Now we're going to flash away. We got so much to keep this bottom lane safe for FlyQuest. And AoE want to change that. They are calling Winnie down into this bottom lane around the same time that Winsome is looking to get a reset right here. So Masu will be by his lonesome, but Ezreal is one of the safer champions to be alone in that lane.
Yeah, it's some of the perks of picking Ezreal over Khan, right? You can't just kind of be self-sufficient. Now, Rel does have the combo. So if Rel has flash, then it can be a tad bit scary for Ezreal. Like, you can trade your flash to pretty much force Ezreal flash to make sure that he gets out. So that might be something that Skytech looks for. You can also get funky with the Hex Flash, as that's a really nice ult from Masu. He's looking for the poke. Love that from our Ezreal players.
Looking for the knock-up, but the clone is the only thing found by Winsome. And pretty nice for that true shot, as you said. Damage just fall off with everything you hit, so being able to front-load that with a Xayah. Always got to feel good for that poke, and pressure really being applied by FlyQuest, even to Masu being alone. Just look at how many wards they placed in that quadrant of the jungle, Cubby.
And it's an Umbral Glaive from Yuji. I think that actually says a lot about how FlyQuest wants to play, as of course Graves, you do have a few different build options going Eclipse, Black Cleaver, Gore Drinker, or even Umbral Glaive start. It just tells me that they are really looking to eliminate vision, make the Fog of War very scary for AoE, and make sure that they're always just, forcing AoE to fight for every bit and piece of the map possible. Because if they do, they're able to, they're going to find Mystic Shots. They might find a Rakan. They're going to find just inanimate damage from the Talia. FlyQuest do not want to opt into this big 5v5 from AoE. They want to play the map. They want to really force AoE to take any and all space on the map they can, as we see Yuji getting a really nice trade in the Winnie.
All right, Winnie versus Yuji, but Winsome will hop in on the ultimate and take down the Monkey King. Yuji slays Winnie.
Again, some of the perks, you can leave Ezreal on his own in the bot lane. Winsome able to cash in. Great follow-up from him, and really good setup from Yuji, as he was just looking nice and appetizing there.
Winsome trying to find Darkwings, will not be able to lock him down. With that, still more momentum going over to the side of FlyQuest. They did get that kill onto Yuji. He's taking a reset right now. More income onto the Graves, which is not bad for FlyQuest, to say the least.
do have to say, while this is going on, one name that we haven't really looked at has been the top lane, Gamsu on the Gnar. Very self-sufficient up there. He's been doing really well in the Philip. We did see the flash for flash trade. That was the one bit of action that we had. But credit to Gamsu, who doing a nice job here in the top lane, just kind of playing his game. As Gamsu, always talk about the playoff buffs, because he has been at 3 finals in a row in Proving Grounds, looking to match that now in Challengers. And honestly, Gamsu, someone that I think has had a pretty decent tournament and a nice upswing as always. You know, the Gamsu playoff buff, it's a running joke and thing, you know, because there is some truth behind it.
A lot of truth behind it. I think last year was like the biggest example of it existing and there's nothing you can do about it. Because Gamsu was just thrown in at playoffs and suddenly Dignitas are performing out of their minds. You know, not attributing that all to Gamsu. Insanity was definitely a big standout right there, but Gamsu
I thought it was way back in his first split in 21 where he was just getting back from Overwatch. And he had to step up from Hunter next, and all of a sudden, like, he's first timing, like, Jax on stage and just, like, dumping on people. I mean, that was something different as, actually heal netted from Masu. And you can see Masu, how much experience he's up in this lane, given the creeps that were denied earlier, as Masu keeping up the pressure. Really well done here by our Ezreal player. And FlyQuest is going to take another plate before plates expire. So 3 plates over to Masu. That's the lead the FlyQuest are looking for, even on the scoreboard, but they got the gold where they want it.
More and more money going over to Masu.
Oh my.
We'll take another plate on top of that, and Lynx is hurting so bad. That is an 800 gold lead coming out for Masu. We're going to the 14th minute, and that's forcing out the ultimate of Lynx. This bot lane's starting to crumble, Cubby.
Oh man, Yuji, well done. As FlyQuest, this is going to be first brick. You got to believe it's going to fall. Now plates are down. We could look to Dragon if we are Yuji, but instead he just wants to make sure it's going to be the gold first. Masu gets that for free. Now we'll see what kind of contest we have in the Dragon, because FlyQuest just have to be a wee bit careful here. If the Rel and the Xayah are able to get here in time, could be bad, but I think Yuji's got enough damage in the tank. Well played from FlyQuest.
Just holding that lane down there with so much vision that they established. It made it even that much safer for Masu to be secure and shoving in that wave and allowing Winsome to roam out. Again, Winsome has been one of those big team fighters for FlyQuest, one of those big decision makers for FlyQuest, and really shows with plays like that.
Yeah, Winsome, we did a great interview with him. I think we ran the clip like twice on broadcast because it was so good. But obviously his time in LCS, he played very well, and FlyQuest were the #1 team. But he really credits his time for teaching him how to play macro, and he's really tried to bring that into FlyQuest as a team. And I mean, we've seen the growth and the change from FlyQuest ever since Winsome has gotten here. Just how good this team has been. It was a visible difference from week 1. And I mean, a lot of it wasn't just Winsome's individual play, it was mostly his leadership and how FlyQuest were playing as a team.
Yeah. I think it's shown a lot. FlyQuest looked great even when they had Ketong, but it was just Winsome bringing that next level of teamwork and team play for FlyQuest.
Yeah. And an 80 no longer on 100 ping, that's nice too.
Ping God Apocalypse. Oh, Lynx!
2 levels up.
Ignite goes down on the Lynx, and you gotta respect Masu, man. As you said, 2 levels up.
I love this pick as Xayah. I feel like a lot of people have just been opting into these handshakes with Xayah where, like, you can outrange Xayah. For me, this is the way that you beat Xayah. Stuff like Jace, LeBlanc, Ezreal, the poke. I love that FlyQuest is going for this. They're playing it really well. They focused the map to make sure that Masu gets ahead. And now look at what Masu's doing. He took a second turret, the mid out of the most valuable outer you can find. FlyQuest just have 1 more to knock down. They're cruising to this game. And they have a lot of time to do so. On the top side, Herald's been taken. They're 3.5 minutes until the Dragon. They can easily just rotate Ezreal up top and make sure that turret's theirs too.
Man, so much gold going over to Masu. Finishes a second item. Essence Reaver now going to be done. Yep. Lynx just trying to catch up.
I mean, perks of Ezreal, right? Your build is cheap. So Masu taking advantage of those discount items. He is fed early. Also has the Conqueror, which is definitely more of a focus on the elongated fights. So Masu really trying to play these fights out slow, play at that Q range, be really careful about when he does pick his spots, which so far he's done fantastically. Lynx very far behind. Again, nearly 2 levels as Masu might be picking up even level 11 off this wave. Who knows?
Can't get over how FlyQuest, how vigilant they've been with a lot of this vision they're setting up when they're going for these objectives, when they're going for certain plays. Look at how many wards they got going out there. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 6 wards total, including that control ward over in the river bush.
It's really, like, again, the Umbral Glaive for me really did spoil the way that FlyQuest wants to play. It is just about taking the map, forcing AoE out because Graves is strong, Ezreal is strong, and now, I mean, they even forced Darkwings out as he didn't want to have open himself up to a play from the Talia. Spyrax, he's the one going to work on this outer turret, which is even better for the side of Fly, because then guess what? Ezreal just gets to hold mid.
Now with this, FlyQuest are going to have to start rotating their resources. Spyrax wants to take down that tower as fast as possible. Same thing with AoE over here in the bottom lane to try and open up this map a bit more. Because we got a minute 45 before that dragon does spawn and FlyQuest have been stacking.
This was a really nice response from AoE, as we did see FlyQuest take full control over this top side of the map to make sure that Spyrax is able to push this down. But I really like the Herald drop. They're going to get 2 crashes for him, as they do play on the correct side of the map, maybe more.
Oh, nice timing on the counter-strike. Will flash away. Philip survives, and now looking to back out is Winnie. Takes way too much damage on the Cyclone. And if you wanted to contest the Dragon, now is no longer the time. Spyrax is here. Weaver's Wall cuts off 2 from the fight, and Spyrax will rock Lynx's world. Uses the stopwatch. Can he flash out of this situation? Winnie will put him down. It's going to be another trade, but SkyTech does fall. Philip with the counter-strike threatens Gamsu.
Oh, he burned.
And able to back away. Gamsu flashes, but AoE, they're holding the line.
Yeah, Darkwings played that fight really well. He's going to speed himself up, try and get Philip, who jumps to Masu. We're a minute before the Dragon, so we could see our teams reset and fire away yet again. But well played from the side of AoE, and especially Darkwings, who held the line.
Oh, and what a crucial time right there. It did seem like all was going to go awry for AoE, but they do clutch out a very critical time to not lose too much in the back half of this with this teleport coming through from Spyrax.
It's a wonderful ult, as that Weaver's Wall gets as much value as you can possibly ask for. But then Spyrax wasn't able to go golden. He does dodge out on the Shockwave, but Orianna, there was no pressure on her. And you can see Darkwings was really able to step up and do the damage that Ori wants to do. Is when some burn, Masu gets chunked, and FlyQuest weren't able to get damage they needed into Ori. That's definitely going to be a target that I think they're going to really look out for in these fights. Again, FlyQuest, they don't want to take a 5v5 on even footing. And I think we saw some of the strength of AoE's comp there. As in the back half, that was a straight up fight, and AoE, they went out heavily.
Darkwings is going to get bigger and bigger and be more of a threat. You know, this team fight that AoE do have, it is so well complemented by Darkwings and his Shockwave. Yuji now setting up for a flank. Philip not too far off from a flank of his own. Now Yuji will step up, spotted out by a ward. AoE kind of getting pulled into every angle right now as they try and contest onto this dragon.
That's good from Philip. He's going to have to jump out, but not a bad start for the trade. Yuji, again, kind of getting funky with where he's positioning, like wrap around as Philip does have that TP available. Darkwings and Gamsu do have TPs if Darkwings does want to base TP. The Dragon's going down. Here we go.
Here comes the race. Now looking to secure it. It goes over to Winnie. Teleport going to be down by Philip. Here comes the Weaver's Wall. Winsome has to bail. Too low is Lynx. Yuji takes him down and follows up with Masu. Seismic shove lands onto nothing, but that's okay. You got a Shockwave to bring it right back. But does Darkwings have enough left in the tank to contest with FlyQuest hopping right on him? Counter-strike goes through with the Goomba Stomp. Darkwings goes down, and FlyQuest will win the fight.
The setup was too good from FlyQuest. They found the chunks and found another beautiful Weaver's Wall from Spyrax, as his ability to take that angle. I mean, he totally cut off AoE and made that fight so hard for them. They couldn't find the front to back. They were being sieged upon from all sides.
See right here. You know, Winnie does secure that smite, but Spyrax, a beautiful ultimate, makes it so hard for AoE to position.
Yes, to get Darkwing's flash immediately, and then SkyTech's just stuck. And while he's stuck, I mean, Darkwings had to retreat, Gamsu had to retreat. I mean, the flash was burned from the Rakan combo, so again, everyone just kind of out of position, a very scattered fight, no front to back available. And FlyQuest, they were the ones who went out on the skirmish, as Masu was just never pressured because the positioning of that fight from the start, FlyQuest, between Winsome and Spyrax, they just sent AoE running for the hills.
And even with AoE getting ground positioning right onto that dragon, it's FlyQuest who tear them apart, doing flanks at 3 different angles, forcing AoE's hand, forcing their response. I
love that too, because like even Ryoma talked about in the wildcard TSM series we just had, we saw 2 games of Orianna Jinx. It's like you have to find angles, right? If you don't, things get really bad. And, no cancel.
No. Beautiful knock-up, and that's a double kill going over to Yuji. Lynx trying to survive, trying to find a way out, but the door is slammed shut by Masu.
That's Baron. SkyTech wasn't able to cancel the engage from Rakan, and they just get wiped as FlyQuest. They were here. Darkwings, Gamsu, they were not. They were stuck on the waves. The 3-stack from AOE too far up. They get punished in what has been a very close game up until this point. FlyQuest just blew the doors of this game wide open.
And they'll be rewarded with Baron. Not a thing AOE can do. They've taken over this game. They're out positioning. They're out fighting. They're doing the entire job that they needed to do to make sure that this was going to be fast. And with the 6K lead, 22 minutes into this, Baron now secured. They're pinging over towards that bottom side and looking for the next play to make.
FlyQuest just too good, man. That play, I mean, SkyTech not canceling that's tough, but like once that doesn't connect, I think that the setup again for FlyQuest is good, and how FlyQuest is playing around the gold they have, the strength they have in Masu is hold on.
Yuji's getting strong
too. Yeah. He's pretty big too.
We'll chase away the monkey from the jungle. And that's the thing, AOE, even if they're going for a lot of these deep invades and trying to net something back, they have to be very, very careful about it at this point. That's a 4-1-4 Graves. That's a 2-1-3 Talia. Never mind the 7.0 KDA coming out from Masu. The damage dealers for FlyQuest are online.
And Masu going to take down another turret again. A lot of our setup for AoE, you know, Winnie's the leader of this team, but it really does feel like, you know, Lynx and SkyTech, that's how AoE has had success and won the games they have had in regular season and even here in playoffs against EG. This time around, I think the game plan from FlyQuest was really sound to make sure that this lane was ahead. That was their goal, to make sure Masu had the gold. Look at where Masu's at in this game. Going for the Novori. Quick Boy is on the Ezreal now, so he's going to be firing off a lot of stuff. I wonder if he's going to circle around to get the Kraken Slayer 4th here.
It's mine. I mean, it's 3 items completed.
Just be blue build. We could go Serelda's, get the utility. Who knows? Serelda's very viable this game.
Get the Elder Lizard.
No Mythic Elk. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's... Okay, the first time I hit Diamond, it was blue Ezreal. I went 21-5 playing the Elder Lizard build.
That was the blue build. It was so sick, man.
Yeah, over like 26 games, I was playing mid Kha'Zix and that. It was all blue build. Not balanced. Not balanced.
Did you ever play it in the mid lane with the blue build? Or was it exclusively
the AP build? Yes, AP Ezreal was not okay. It was not okay. Oh my god, the old W? Not okay. Oh.
SkyTech might not be okay as well. Yuji's chasing him, and unfortunately nowhere to park for SkyTech. Can be chased down by Deputy Yuji over here. Forced right off the horse, and yeah, this is no man's land. Another kill coming out for Yuji.
That's a wild horse right there. As okay, shotgun takes the horse out back, and that's going to be a new start for SkyTech on the map. As Dragon is on the table, with FlyQuest a little bit more worried about picking out their camps at the moment. I think they're going to go for Dragon after this wave. That's fine. I do like when you have Baron when you play the waves and actually wait for the Dragon. I feel like you can take Dragon in the back half of Baron quite a bit. But okay, FlyQuest.
Find Spyrax, but Spyrax pulls Gamsu closer. Gamsu able to use the ultimate alongside the wall up, but here comes Yuji, and the damage is found off of the buckshot of Yuji.
Maybe if Darkwings is able to calm, that they could cancel Phillips TP. That is an option. They were still outnumbered and outgunned, but Flash being burdened by Gamsu to try and go for that play, not warranted. As again, the strength of FlyQuest too much. They're up 8k gold at this point of the game, Desterux, and it really feels like the only strength for AoE at this point. Playing around Ori, and as long as FlyQuest keeps on making plays where Ori isn't, this game's fine for them.
That being said, though, still looking at that Ori, the objective bounty picked up by AoE was over in that top side, and that was by Darkwings. So you're still getting some good influx of gold coming onto Darkwings. The thing is, you need to get the condition where Darkwings can have that very, very critical shockwave that turns this game around.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up too. I feel like the strategy for FlyQuest is to play around that, right? It's denying vision. It's playing in the fog of war after you get priority from these lanes. And I think the FlyQuest strategy for the Orianna was really good because this is a combo that, again, Ryoma said, hey, it's really strong in this tournament. You got to look out for it. We fell to it. If you don't make plays in the Ori fast enough, she can't just win the game in team fights. This is one way you can make plays around the Ori and still be able to scale and have a good game later. I think that's been really, really good from FlyQuest.
Or AoE, they are setting up over onto this top end of the quadrant. They do have a wave shoved in. That's going to be responded to by Spyrax, but teleport's available, so he can get back to the rest of FlyQuest. FlyQuest now have control of this wave that's crashing into this tier 2 top end. Philip will walk into that brush, able to spot out Winnie. Winnie does have flash available, will not have to use it, but still eats a load of damage from Masu.
AOE, I love how no one on their team was like covering the wave because they saw Ezreal. They're like, all right, it's probably just on the wave. Who knows? You know, when in doubt, just fire a roll to the wave. You get the free passive stacks. Maybe you catch some people. Smasu's been using that rather liberally, and who can blame him? Is check the cooldown on that Ezreal. True shot barrage, almost back up. Very fun.
Yeah, just an eighth of the way on the cooldown. Give it a moment.
Oh, here we go.
Here comes the Weaver's Wall now. Spyrax arriving. Here comes Winsome locked in.
Hold on.
Poor Lynx,
Hold on.
or is it? The feathers fly into AOE. Send FlyQuest heading for the hills. Unable to get that kill. Spyrax able to get the seismic shove going through, but Dark Wings has the command attack to send Spyrax back over that wall. Flash going to be used by Spyrax. And AOE, right when it looks like doom and gloom with the Weaver's Wall at their back, Lynx clutches up.
Lynx clutches up, but also if you are not putting angles onto Orianna, Darkwings did so much damage in that fight again, Deserux, as it feels like FlyQuest, they need to almost get AoE outside of the lanes. Like, they need Baron to be back up to try and win this game. I think they need AoE to be scattered in the fight. They just want to open up a lot of space to try and chunk them down.
This is such a pain right now. Masu poking away. Let's take another look at how that fight went through. Got to keep your eyes on Lynx and Darkwings.
Clever start. Philip actually stunned Skytech, so then they can't cancel the recon engage. That's really clever coming out of FlyQuest. But then to counter engage from Skytech, it is big. And Darkwings, again, he's untouched. Yeah, Lynx almost went down. Darkwings, he wasn't touched at all. The fact that it gets as close as it does is credit to Spyrax in the back half, but really, really close fight there because Darkwings does a lot of damage in the Orianna at this point, and with that death cap online, you do have to be careful about that ball.
This is getting into the later stages now. Orianna is a late game threat, is a late game menace, especially in these team fights, and you can see exactly why Darkwings piloting this champion, one of the most played within his career. AoE still looking for more. Winnie leads forward, got to be careful. Winsome and Masu getting the poke onto Winnie. Winnie about half health, the True Shot Barrage as a parting gift, and ooh, look at this, FlyQuest, they turn over towards the Baron.
FlyQuest, again, they're playing the vision game, they're playing the poke game. They have cleared this out. It's already halfway done. Skytech's the only one that's in vicinity. As, okay, hold on. Weaver's Wall doesn't cut him off. It's actually be a little bit dicey here for FlyQuest.
Winnie's got to be quick. Winnie's got to be quick. Winsome's got to be quicker. Trying to get the charm onto Winnie, securing the Baron. Yuji's able to get it, but here comes the Cyclone of Winnie. Finds a knockup, finds a second one, but it's a trade.
Masu?
1 for 1. Skytech runs low, and Masu runs right through AoE.
Oh my goodness, Masu. I thought he was going to E out of the pit. Instead, he eat in. He takes out everyone as Masu had it calculated. And all the goal for FlyQuest, it was on this Ezreal. Masu, he cashes it in when it counts for this fight as FlyQuest, they take the Baron. And now they're at least going to take one inhibitor.
Leading these waves into the base of AoE. Spyrax over on that top side. He'll be able to get a little bit of damage onto that tower. Darkwings will protect it. Oh, respect Masu. That's half your health in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and guess what he's going to break open when he goes into the base? Kraken Slayer. Oh, no. Gale Force coming out for Masu. Okay, we're going to get real fancy here. Holy cow. Masu has checked this again. I mean, he's peppering AoE already. Uses the Arcane Shift to wrap that up, but he's actually able to walk north of Skytech. Arcane Shifts again to at least dodge out on the part of the first Cyclone. He's still pumping out damage the entire time. Is able to get onto Lynx, finds the WQ. That's what gets Masu the kills. Is, man, Masu, I mean, this guy is a rookie. He's only played one split of OQs before this in summer. He continues to step up, and just an actual gem that FlyQuest has found from the ladder and from the system, as he has been nothing but impressive, well, regardless of the thing he's on.
Yeah, we have so many highlight reel plays of Masu back on that 100 ping, dodging out on these very critical plays. Please. Like there was what a Xerath play where he was still sidestepping every single charge of the ultimate. Oh man, the Wi-Fi wizard Ping God Apocalypse now currently not having to deal with that anymore, so he can perform at his maximum, and boy is he.
This guy continues to be so impressive. As I mean, I'd say a year, like, we have expansion teams, like, you just have a lot of players just because we went from 10 to 16 teams that are rookies. Masu continues to be one of the most impressive debuts out of anyone in the league, provisional or challengers teams. That is saying a lot because, you know, a player like Perry, he's never started on an academy team before. He technically is a rookie. He's been hella impressive too. Masu, man, he's right up there with them on the rookie all-star team. Him and Menz, I think, at the marksman role have been outstanding, as Masu looking to drive home this game 1 victory for FlyQuest. Which has been a real, like, I know Moss is the one that got fed, like, is doing all the damage, but it really has been top to bottom a great team effort from them.
Yeah, they've been performing on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, as they look to set the base of AOE into Flame. Skytech is on the deep end, looking for potentially a flank right here. Is getting past a lot of the wards coming through, but he's got to be fast because FlyQuest right now are looking to end.
Before the end, though, they want that third inhibitor just to be safe here. FlyQuest, they know that they're down the line. Oh, great engage.
Able to get it onto Masu, but they don't get the blade caller onto Masu. Still one pick going to be found. It's a trade. Darkwings falls. Skytech with the Mystic shot. Oh, it's the end of the line for Skytech. Spyrax hops forward. Seismic shove to shove this team into a game 2 as FlyQuest will take the victory in this game number 1. Clean it up with a few more. FlyQuest are scaling, baby, and they'll scale into this game number 2.
FlyQuest, they are a team that's feared for a reason in this tournament. They're getting called out by C9, Dignitas, 100 Thieves, because these are the games that FlyQuest can put together, guys. This is not an easy to execute team composition for FlyQuest. It is about poke. It is about control. It is about vision on the map. And FlyQuest, they made that look really easy on the back half because of all the work that Masu was able to get done on that Ezreal.
They made it look absolutely amazing, as well as Yuji showing up and, you know, still bringing it for that bottom lane to have what they were able to get and just put the, you know, other side in the dirt. I really appreciate what FlyQuest were able to bring to this game, how dominating it really was from them. As you said, it was a full team effort. Hats off to them, 1 win away from proceeding into the next round of the lower bracket. We're going to take a moment to throw it over a break. When we return, we'll have Ryoma back with our halftime rally cry segment.